Hi everybody, it's me, Kate, and we're doing things a little differently this week. With everything going on, I just didn't quite have it in me to write. So I thought we would do this video. Like many of you, I am learning how to be a teacher at home to 3 children who are supposed to be in school. I am learning how to work in an office where there are no people. And I'm also learning how to socially distance myself, which is not really my nature, but we're being forced to do it. So one of the things as we were going through all the changes going on this week is I kept thinking about this piece that I had written a few years back. It's called A Tie Stall Barn at Night. And throughout the week, I just kept referencing it in my mind. It would pop in at different times randomly. So last night I actually got a chance to pull it up and read it again. And what I found is after I read it, I felt more solid and I felt more balanced. And I think it's because right now we all feel so untethered. We feel as if the world is wide open, and at any given moment, we don't know how things are going to play out and how we're going to be affected by all these changes that we're being forced to go through right now. So what I hoped is that I could read this story to you and you would be able to hear it in my voice. And maybe going into this week, it may offer you some balance and substance and foundation to help you remember who you were, who you are today, and where you're going after we get through this blip. So with that, I'm going to read this piece to you, A Tie Stall Barn at Night, and I hope you enjoy it. A few weeks ago, the kids and I were driving home when we passed by an old abandoned dairy barn that was clearly a showstopper back in the day. You know the type I'm talking about. Barn red, small, square, white trimmed windows, and a milk house attached on the front with a neatly white painted door. I sighed and said something to them about how I missed the days of milking in a tie stall. And simultaneously, all 3 kids asked why. And I thought for a moment and replied, well, because it's just so cozy at night. And then there was a silence, and they looked at me. I could see in each of their faces a question. What are you talking about, Mom? So I went back. The steam spilled out into the snow as I opened the milk house door with my foot clad in its black tingly rubber boot. Once inside, I set down the stack of black calf buckets that I carried in my arms and was immediately greeted by the moist warmth that enveloped me upon my entry. The moan of the milk pump marched on, bouncing off the walls inside the small cement-floored room. I picked up the white-handled scrub brush and reached for the hose next to the stainless steel sink. I stuck my well-washed prune hand into the detergent bag and pulled out a measuring cup of white granules and sprinkled them carelessly over my pails before I began washing and stacking them one by one on the drying rack. Stainless steel pipes in the old, deep double-sided wash sink sat in the far corner, and the sparkling bulk tank reached deeply into the small room. The familiar smell of dampness filled my nose. I looked down at the pool of water that had settled where the cement had been worn away from years of hose pressure that had washed over-soiled boots, bucket milkers, and calving chains. I pushed my way back through the swinging door and was greeted by the familiar faces of the cows, foraging through their hay as they sought out one more pellet of grain. The hint of fresh wood from the newly spread sawdust smelled sweet, while the clunk of the grate sounded when I walked over the gutter cleaner. The steady rhythm of pulsation filled the barn until a milker was suddenly kicked off by a fresh heifer over in the corner. She still had that wild look in her eyes, adjusting to her new life in the milking stream on both ends of the day. I ducked under the fan, over to the heifer, and rested my hand on her rump, steadying her, helping the farmer guide the milking cups back onto her swollen teats. The cats scurried from stall to stall in search of the leaking udders where they could find milk pooled underneath and lick every drop before the sawdust soaked it up. Hanging on the old whitewashed post, a blue iodine cup dangled on a nail, and the country music station played in the background. Heifer milked, the end is near, and supper is in sight. I head back out into the barnyard to the calf hutches, where I have just a few more pails to gather and wash up. I trudged back to the milk house, towards the warmth of the light streaming out through the square windows and the moan of the milk pump. It's familiar, regular, and the same. With my empty 5-gallon buckets in hand, I looked up as the sound of the pump suddenly stopped. Milking was over. My eyes lifted towards the vast, cold, star-filled sky above, and I breathed in, fulfilled. Another day has passed, another to begin tomorrow, and somehow I knew this wouldn't be forever. My children will know milking parlors and heated shops, fancy calf barns and trailers that sit outside of the milk house and get picked up daily. Years from now, they will look back and they will remember too. They won't have my memories, but they will have their own that conjure up that warm, nostalgic feeling that way back when there was comfort, simplicity, and heart. Oh, how I love a tie-style barn at night. Be well, my friends. Have a great week, and I will be back next Monday.